Hey, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the quick start exercises. Let's begin by going to the add-ons menu and opening the Slides.ooo sidebar. This will also open the beginner's guide. Now you see the Slides.ooo slides bar open, and there you'll see tabs for the various menus, which include tools, shapes, lines, media, mockups, templates, people and permissions, and links to your presentations. So if we go back and take a look at the first of the quick start exercise, the sailboat exercise, we can see that on this there are a number of post-it notes, and you can add more post-it notes by simply clicking on a post-it note in the sidebar and then dragging it to where you want to be. And you can change the color by having selected it and then selecting a different color. Now there are a range of other types of shapes such as voting, so should you wish to vote, you go back to the add mode and you might allow people to vote on which of the jobs to be done, for example, are the most important. There's also other types of shapes, and if you wish to expand all of the different options at once, you can use the contract and expand buttons here. To connect two shapes, we can select the shapes involved and then create a connection. Alternative, we might have wanted to also show a directionality and chosen an advanced line such as a flow. So there's a range of different types of lines that you can use. When it comes to adding icons, we might want to add a location icon, for example. We search, and here we can see the various icons. Now if I select this icon, it will insert it in the standard black color, and I could put that here. If I wanted to insert an orange icon, I would pick the orange color and then click insert, and that would enable me to be able to put in the location pin of a different color. And there's roughly 40,000 icons you can search through to find whatever it is that you're after. You could also find a photo. So if we wanted to add a small photo of a boat, we can search for a boat and it will provide us with a list of photos. If we click on that photo, it will then insert the small version. Similarly, if you wanted something that was a thumbnail size, you can either scale this one, or you could have selected the thumbnail insert option there. You can also insert to fit a particular shape by first selecting the shape and then picking the photo. You can insert it full screen, a regular size, a small size, and thumb. You also have roughly 5 billion videos to search through, so if you're looking for sailing, for example, this will search YouTube and bring back to you sailing videos. And maybe you might choose Rod Stewart doing a sailing video. Click paste. That's then going to add the video here. We can resize that and move that on. And that video will play when we go into presentation mode. And lastly, we might wish to insert a map. In this particular case, we might want a satellite map of Stewart Island, which is an island off New Zealand. And if we insert our map, it goes away to Google Maps and brings back our map of Stewart Island. So there you have an example of how you interact with post-it notes, other shapes such as voting, lines and connectors, icons, photos, videos, and maps. Next, what we're going to do is have a look at mock-ups and prototypes. So if we go to the next slide, in our quick start exercise, you'll see there's a My App slide, and the way this was created was we went to devices and we added a phone and we added a toolbar. Now often what you want to do is you actually want to add an authentication module. So if we click on the authentication module, what that does is it adds a series of slides that have predefined content in them for an authentication sequence, which include login, registration, reset password, as well as a landing page and a home screen. And so waiting for a few seconds for it to do that, it will generate the slides that we need, and we can then continue to go about developing our home screen. Now, what's really useful about this is these are preloaded with hotspots, so that if I click register, it goes through to register me, I click login, and it takes me to the welcome screen. So this is a preloaded sequence, and you can add additional slides by going back to the devices menu and adding another phone slide, or potentially going to another screen menu such as a contact us page. So if we wanted to add a contact us page, we'd click on that, and it would then add the contact us slide pre-filled with content for a contact us form. And here's our contact us form. So what we could do now is we could go back to our home screen, and we might choose to put an image on there. And to do that, we would then go back and choose to fit the shape. I've selected this background shape here, and I could go and add a boat scene, for example. Let's add this one here. Now note that it's going to paste that image over the top, and so what you'd need to do is send it backwards, and you can do that a few times using the control down arrow key. And now we've got our home screen with our login and registration button. If we go back to presentation mode, we'll see that we can log in, takes us to our welcome screen, and the next one is our contact us page. So this is how you go about using the mock-up screens as well as the media. Now we can also add other components from the components menu that may include things like a bottom app bar, and we can build up our own custom interfaces. And so if we wanted to go and add a button to that, we can come and add a button. We may want to go and put in a placeholder for an image, so we can go underneath media and drop in a placeholder instead of putting in an actual photo. Same with the video placeholder. So if we put in a video placeholder here, we might do that, and we might want to go and add some text, perhaps a heading and some copy. And you obviously move those around, potentially move the button down or out to one side. You've got a range of options. It may be that you want to modify one of these components and remove something, and because all of these components are editable, it's easy to do that. If you wanted a forward button, you can change the dimensions of the components, and you can edit their labels such as send, if you're wanting to send a video or something to a friend. If you expand all of the components, you can see there's quite a good range of components, and they're continually being added to, including calendars, form items, dialogues, maps, locations, lists, and graphs. Another thing you can do is you can come in and you can go and duplicate one of the interfaces, and you might want to call this dashboard, and change what you're seeing on here to some dashboard items, and so you can move around existing content as well as you might want to go and, for example, put in a donut chart onto your dashboard. And you can resize that as makes sense. So they're very editable screens, and you can always go and take a look at what your app looks like. So if we want to go back to our home screen, present that again, we would come in, we would register, go to our login, and it comes through to the various screens that follow that we created. So a very fast way to build a clickable prototype. And if you want to have more control over the interactions, you have the ability to add hotspots here. So if I wanted to go and have this search button connect to the previous slide, then what I can do is refresh the list of slides and then go and drop in a hotspot to the welcome screen and position that here over the search button. Now when you go into present mode, you'll see that the hotspot is still showing, and that will take you to the welcome screen. However, in practice we don't want our hotspots showing during a demo, so we can hide all the hotspots, and then when we go into presentation mode, the hotspot's still active, but it just enables us to navigate. If you want to see where all of the hotspots are, you can show them all, and this will show you where the hotspots are on the other slides that came pre-built, and again you can hide them. So that's how you go about rapid prototyping. And lastly, what I want to show you is how you add templates like the Sailboat exercise. So under the templates tab, you'll find all the various templates. You can expand those fully to see all the different range of templates, one of which is the Sailboat exercise. So if I click on that, that'll add another version of the Sailboat exercise. Similarly, I might want to add a impact versus effort matrix, and if I click on that template, it adds that pre-filled slide for me, which is useful for decision making when you're looking at the impact and effort for a range of activities and which ones you ought to prioritize. So that's a really quick overview of some of the creative features. Now, when it comes to looking at things like orientation and alignment, if we wanted to go and rotate this map, obviously you can drag the handle here and move it around like this, but if I wanted to set that to a particular angle, I have the various layout tools available to me. So I can go and acquire the rotation, which is 330 degrees. I could then go and change that and then apply the new rotation and it will rotate it. I can also use features for alignment and grouping and so forth, as you'd expect with the graphics tool. So really useful if you're needing some additional layout tools. In addition to layout, we've got text translation. So if we go and change Sailboat exercise to Maori and we translate that, this is the equivalent. We could also go and look at including sign language. So if we look at sail, this comes back with the New Zealand sign definition. So boat and sail or yacht. Let's add this, it's the closest one to sailboat. So if we click on there, that will then insert the appropriate sign. So really useful if you're wanting to create multilingual slide decks, as well as ones that are more accessible to people who are deaf and hard of hearing. There are a couple of other tabs here for managing objects and data. In particular, there's the ability to be able to store data in both a presentation and a graph database, but that's more of an advanced feature. Finally, the last couple of tabs, as I mentioned, you can add new people, as well as you can launch your presentations. So a very quick overview of Slides.ooo. Probably the most useful features to begin with would be to look at starting to learn to use the post-it notes to be able to make some decisions, to then look at building prototypes using the mockups tab, and to be able to use some of the many templates we have available for decision making under the Templates tab. Thanks very much.